Nearly 80% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Surprised? The situation is even more dire than most of us think. Behind the facade of the American dream lies a reality filled with financial struggles, from overwhelming debt to barely any savings. These shocking stats reveal a stark picture of the average American's financial health, or lack thereof. It's not just about not being able to afford that new smartphone or a summer vacation. It's about hardworking individuals and families facing real dilemmas, like choosing between paying for groceries or covering the electric bill. I'm Will, and I teach people about investing, personal finance, and money. I've walked the path you seek, and today I have several businesses and investments that provide me income every single month, meaning I never have to work another day in my life. If you plan on becoming financially free, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you find this video valuable. In this video, I'm going to peel back the layers on the financial state of affairs for the average American. It's a wake-up call to take a closer look at our finances, challenge the status quo, and make informed decisions to secure a better financial future. Are you ready to uncover the truth? Be sure to watch until the end, as the last statistic may shock you. Statistic 1. Savings to cover a $1,000 emergency. Can you believe that more than half of Americans, we're talking 57%, wouldn't be able to cough up the cash for a $1,000 emergency? That's right. If life suddenly throws a curveball at you, say a health scare, a car breakdown, or an unexpected job twist, most Americans are caught off guard financially. Now think about the cost for a minute. Needing an ambulance can set you back over $1,100 depending on where you live. And if your trusty ride needs some repairs, you're likely shelling out $500 to $600. Seeing these figures, it's kind of scary to realize that a lot of people out there are just one bad day away from a financial meltdown. But more on this later. Digging into the details from last year, it turns out about 1 in 3 American households faced a hefty, unexpected bill last year. Yet, when asked if they could handle a sudden expense of $1,000, only 43% said their savings could cover it. That's not a lot, is it? So, what's everyone else doing to deal with these surprises? A good chunk is turning to their savings, sure, but there's also a significant number reaching for their credit cards, planning to pay off the amount over time. Others are tightening their belts, cutting back on other expenses to make ends meet. And then you've got people borrowing from family or friends, and even taking out personal loans to bridge the gap. What this really highlights is a trend of living in the now, financially speaking. Many are in survival mode, living paycheck to paycheck, making the idea of an emergency fund seem like a distant dream. But here's the thing. An emergency fund isn't just about having extra cash. It's about giving yourself a buffer from life's unexpected turns, offering some peace of mind and keeping financial stress at bay. Statistic 2. Student loan borrowers default within the first 5 years of repayment. Rolling right into another statistic, did you know that a whopping 25% of student loan borrowers find themselves defaulting within the first 5 years of repayment? Yep, you heard that right. In a landscape where education debt in the U.S. has ballooned to over $1.7 trillion in the last decade, this stat paints a pretty grim picture for folks trying to manage their student loans. So what does defaulting really mean? Well, when you get a loan, you're shaking hands on a deal to pay it back under certain conditions. Slip up on making these payments on time and the cycle starts. Let that slide too long and boom, you've hit default territory. This isn't just about missing a payment or two. Default means you've seriously dropped the ball on repaying your loan, which can lead to your debt being handed over to a collection agency. And depending on the fine print of your loan agreement and the rules of the land, this can happen sooner than you might think. Now, if you thought that was bad, wait till you hear about the ripple effects. Defaulting can torpedo your credit score, with people seeing drops of 50 to 90 points. And a low credit score could have you walking around with a financial burden around your neck, meaning higher interest rates on loans, headaches when trying to rent a place, hiccups if you're trying to buy a home, and even getting side-eyed for certain jobs. These are all on the table. Plus, to add insult to injury, defaulting can actually make your student loan balance grow thanks to collection fees and piled-up interest. Statistic 3. Credit card debt. About 35% of U.S. households are wrestling with this very challenge. Yep, a staggering $1 trillion in credit card debt has piled up across the country. The culprits? A mix of low wages and sky-high living costs that push people to spend more than what's in their wallets. To put a finer point on it, the Federal Reserve Bank of New York dropped a bombshell. Credit card balances skyrocketed by $45 billion in just the second quarter of 2023, pushing the total over the edge to a whopping $1.03 trillion. These numbers aren't just digits on a page. They're flashing neon signs pointing to a bigger story. With the average APR soaring, the cost of carrying credit card debt is like running up an escalator that's going down, exhausting and seemingly endless. This snapshot of credit card debt in the U.S. lays bare a troubling aspect of our financial landscape, where spending beyond our means has become a tightrope many are walking, often out of necessity rather than choice. Don't make the choice to get into more credit card debt, but if you're enjoying this video so far, you can choose to hit that like button. Statistic 4. Saving for retirement. A staggering 32% of working-age American adults are staring down the barrel of retirement with absolutely nothing saved. That's right, zero. I am talking about roughly 58 million people who, when it comes to retirement plans, have their pockets turned inside out. In all that, women are facing an even steeper uphill battle. A surprising 25% of women report having no savings at all or less than $10,000, a stark contrast to 16% of men in the same boat. And when we look at the numbers, the disparity is even more pronounced. Women's median retirement savings clock in at $43,000, while men have more than double that amount at $91,000. Age plays a big role in this picture, too. Millennials, the latest bunch to join the workforce, are the least likely to have a substantial retirement nest egg. Statistic 5. Couldn't last a month after losing a job. According to a survey by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB, a whopping 37% of households would find themselves in deep water if they lost their main source of income, unable to cover their expenses for even a month. That's nearly 4 in 10 families staring into a financial abyss, with not enough in the bank to keep them afloat in case of an emergency. Imagine that, just a paycheck away from uncertainty. Peeling back the layers, it gets even more concerning. A significant 21% of those surveyed admitted they've only managed to keep their heads above water for 2 weeks without their main income. On a brighter note, the survey also found that 27% of American families feel they're in a strong enough financial position to last more than 6 months without their main income source. This snapshot from the CFPB's Making Ends Meet survey sheds light on the tightrope many American families walk when it comes to financial security. Statistic 6. Difficulty paying bills. Over half the nation, 51% to be exact, reported struggling to pay their bills in the last 3 months. But as the prices of everyday essentials have crept up thanks to inflation, that sense of stability has begun to crumble, leaving Americans in a tougher spot than before. The impact of these rising costs hasn't been limited to just keeping the lights on or the water running. It's also stretched to putting food on the table. A significant 42% of Americans have faced challenges in feeding themselves or their families, a statistic that echoes the difficulties reported in the latter half of 2022. This effectively wipes out any previous progress made in reducing the number of people struggling to afford their basic needs. Particularly hard-hit is Gen Z, the youngest generation currently in the workforce. A staggering 67% of them find it difficult to manage their bill payments, underscoring the acute pressure that inflation and economic instability are placing on younger Americans. These figures not only highlight the immediate challenges of meeting day-to-day expenses, but also underscore a broader issue of financial vulnerability among Americans. It's clear that beneath the surface of what might seem like a stable economy, there are undercurrents of financial strain affecting a significant portion of the population. For those feeling the pinch, know that you're not alone. There are steps you can take, resources available, and communities ready to support you in navigating these challenges. And for those in a position to help, whether through advocacy, education, or support, your efforts can make a real difference in turning these statistics around. By shining a light on these issues, working together towards solutions, and fostering a culture of financial literacy and resilience, we can hope to see a future where financial stability is not just a dream for the few, but a reality for the many. If you're looking to change your financial situation around, I suggest you watch this video next on 5 easy ways to make money while working a full-time job.